What's going on out there, everybody? We are back, believe it or not, for another anime review. This time we're here, just me and Lucas this time, unfortunately, for summertime rendering. This is episode 7 and 8. We know that 9 it came out on Thursday, but we're gonna go ahead and get this through first because there was a lot that went down. What's going on, Lucas?
Sam didn't want to do all. I was for doing all three at once,
Mm,
but
mm, mm, not this show, man.
see, Sam said no. But I was
I'll take the blame.
overruled
I'll take the blame
by
for that.
this.
I'll take the blame for this because honestly, you guys, like, there's so much that went down in episode 7 and then
Hmm.
transitioned into the episode 8, because episode 8 was more so really just Ushiro and Shin together, but the Ushiro that is the fake Ushiro.
Yeah,
And episode 7 was primarily him filling out who Hizuru is, the fact that Hizuru is not just herself, but she's also got her brother residing in her in a split personality, and that got
so you're saying that's
revealed.
episode 7?
Correct, episode 7,
Yeah,
yeah. And it was a lot, so I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So that was one of the first things that got revealed in the very beginning of the episode. Was that she basically was like, "You're a time traveler," and he was like, he started crying because he was like, finally somebody knows what's going on. But he didn't know much about her other than the fact that she was the writer of the book series that he had been reading,
hmm,
that had a lot of context between who the shadow people really were. Now, he told her some really good information about the little girl's family, and how they had failed the first time because the little girl was at the festival at the end. That some kind of a way they didn't kill those shadows because the shadows were still there. Now, that
yeah,
was news for her, but it was more so like, well, how did they fail? What was it about this shadow that was different? So
yeah.
when when everything went down, the old man and Shin kind of came together, and old man still kind of like, I don't know if I trust this young cat, but they still kind of waited to the side and just trusted that Hizuru, we thought it was Hizuru, was going to go in there and figure out what was going on. And off rip, they start to tie the back of their hair together, and you find out later on that that wasn't Hizuru, that was actually brother. Now, Lucas, what is your take on her as a character? Like, does she add to the story more for you? Does she take away from it? Is it? I was just curious from your perspective, her as a character.
It's very weird that now we have a character with split personalities all of a sudden.
Right, right.
That's something I didn't see coming. I don't. It's a little odd. I'm assuming because her brother died, and then she took on his personality. It's a weird twist to have.
So it's
That
weird. Do you think that that's a psychological thing, or do you think it's an actual thing? Because the old man said something weird. He said she's the only person that has the ability to counter them, or something like
and
that.
then she has three names.
Yeah, so she got her suitor name for her book series. That's a fake name. Her real name is Huzuru because she grew up on the island, and she knew the family. Ishiro
Was it
and
Nagumo?
Mio's name.
Nagumo? Am I saying
Mhm.
it right? I'm not saying it right. I know I'm not. It is what it is.
It
But
is stuff with the end.
again,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So she got a fake name, she got her name, and then she got her brother's name. But
the key part about it is we finally get the backstory
right,
of the character. That's what we've been waiting for, to find out why did she leave the island, and then we find out she left the island because a shadow murdered her family.
right.
So that caused her to leave the island, but at the same time, it caused her to have a split personality because of what happened with her brother. So
Mhm,
again, it opens up a door to us fully understanding who she is in a way. And we
mhm.
do understand that a lot of what she knows about the shadows, she says she got from her sister,
Right.
who we still haven't um
Well, no, no, no.
picked.
So she is the sister, I think. So remember
No,
when they
I
were
remember
having
they
that
saying
conversation,
when the hair drops,
right,
she's herself.
right.
When it goes up, she's the brother.
Right. So when she was talking about the sister, she had it in a ponytail.
Okay, so she was him. She talking about the sister in a ponytail.
Right. The weird thing is how they communicate. They communicate through leaving voice messages so that they would know, pick up
What's
the pieces
going
because
on?
they don't.
But
Right.
then it brings us back to the beginning when she was hanging upside down from the tree, leaving voicemail messages.
Right.
And you were wondering who was she communicating with, and the whole time she was communicating with herself,
which is insanity. But I still stand by the theory that when they had that fight at the summer festival, I feel like she knew how to dodge out of the way because of her split personality. I don't know, because she's got that. I don't think it's just subconscious. I think it's something else going on. It's
well, I mean, the shadow
nose.
said when she attempted to kill it, like you're predicting my moves. You have to be something other than human.
Right.
So you kind of wonder, what is that? Is she actually something other than human? Does she just have quick reflexes? Maybe the brother was a fighter in some form of time, and that's where the quick reflexes come from.
Yeah, he's thorough. He's thorough. The way that he handles them, like, matter of fact, she was kind of like he sweeps everything. I'm kind of reconnaissance, but he's the one that knows their weaknesses very well. Because when he went up into the spot, man, they really didn't stand a chance until the little girl shadow started to swerve around. And even with that,
Exactly.
he still countered it, but he was like, you should be dead. That should have been a mortal wound, but you still survived. How are you a different shadow like that? Which was interesting. Because I don't understand. There's different there's shadows that are not the normal shadows. Because even Ushio is a different one. So I don't know.
It's but then we understand that they're families.
True.
Like, we understand it's a family type of atmosphere, so they're gonna be different. Everything shouldn't be the same.
True. We'll talk about Ushiro's shadow in a little bit, because episode 2 is really front and center her perspective, because there's something really key about that whole thing that
but in episode 7 we just get the crux of one, her killing the shadow, her understanding the little girl's shadow was a completely different than the other shadow she had to deal with, was also puts in mind that it pinpoints us again to the scene in episode 5. I want to say it is 4 or 5, when the shadows were talking to one another, and we realized then that they were different. They were a family. And this episode 7 establishes that the shadows are a family, that they're different. Not only that, they feel that they belong over everything else.
Right.
Like that, it really pinpoints. Yeah, it really pinpoints in it, and it also it also goes about bringing up again that, you know, when someone is copied, technically they're that person.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally no difference at that point.
Yeah, because when they finally they had a really great perfect idea, and it was kind of like, all right, I'm gonna stay in this location, but you guys wait. And outside, they were waiting for the shadow to come down. Sure enough, the old man had his nail gun. He was firing. He was missing like a mug. And then I was like, man, I can't believe he missed like that easily. And so then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Shin grabs her. She bites the mess out of him. But it took 3 nail shots, and it couldn't move. It was immobile. It couldn't even try to fight back. But
exactly,
that's when that conversation came in, like you said, that she was like, no, I'm the real one. Like, do you want to become a shadow too? So you can really, like, she started almost convincing him, and he was getting madder and madder and madder.
And I mean, again, girl's name who I cannot pronounce, Hizuru. Hizuru. I'm gonna say it's Hizuru.
That's it. That's it.
When she told him, hey, stop listening to the shadow. If you constantly listen to the shadow, it's gonna cause a problem.
Like, there's it's kind of like, well, we haven't got to the next episode yet, but the moment that he sees Ushio, he goes back to what Hizuru said. She said, like, look, do not let them trick you. but it's complicated. It's not that easy because he was emotionally compromised, and I don't know what it would have done. Because I don't think he can be copied at this point, right? They'd already alluded to that he can't be.
That if your copy is killed, you can't be copied again.
Right. Right, but his copy, that's right, his copy didn't get killed yet. Did it even get created yet? Because
you talking about Shinpei's copy?
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's been created yet.
Because we went back. Right. No, his copy hasn't been created yet.
That's weird, bro. That's really weird. Cause that's gonna pose a question I'm gonna have for you in episode 8. But they decide after that point, she kind of fully reveals to him, like, look, this is what's going on with me and my sister. I trust you. We got your back. Just work as though things are the same. So he decides to go on the same regiment he's been going. He decides to go back to the house, and he sees Mio with the knife, and he's terrified because he don't know if the real Mio got slaughtered, and he's like, what do I do with this? But thankfully it wasn't. She cut herself trying to cut some onions, and what he ended up having to do was kind of go ahead and make the whole entire ramen and everything and play it off. Yeah. But the moment he did that, he was kind of like thinking to himself, like, man, this is these variables, right? Like, what I can't predict what things are gonna go. And then lo and behold, she shows up, and that's Ushio at the very end of the episode. So yeah, any closing thoughts on episode 7 you want to bring up?
The key part is just, again, we learn just more about the shadows. We learn about the split personalities, which is the one that threw most people off, I would say, is learning about the split personalities and what's going on with them and how all of that operates. And just, it's kind of cool also to go through the crux of them explaining, like, she's one of the few people that knows how to kill shadows,
right?
And how she goes about killing it. And even the setup mission when she goes to kill the family was interesting.
It was dope. It was dope because she played on the mom's weakness, and the mom legit invited her in. But the weird thing was the little girl said, "Go ahead and invite her in," and they thought everything was cool
in the background.
And I was like,
and it finally solved another thing that we brought up before in a prior episode, that they don't believe regular non-copy people can see the outline of when people disappear shadows. Because remember, as she's walking in with her suitcase, she literally is over top one of the outlines to let you know somebody just died, and the family's not picking up on, like, they can see that.
Right.
So I wonder, is it something that humans can't tell when someone's being copied, and they don't see that dust of an outline that we get to see?
You're right, because the old lady that went in with him the first time didn't see nothing.
Remember, and I brought that up, and I said, and you thought maybe she's a copy, and I said, nah, it's kind of weird. We can see it because they need the audience to understand what happened there, but they don't see it. It's a weird thing there. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think to this, even with us already seeing episode 8, episode 7 is the best episode so far of this series.
Yeah,
because it finally explains things and has answers to questions that we've been waiting for.
Yeah,
and that's the most important part, is giving us answers to questions that we've been waiting for. We finally understand, even though I'm still questioning why this is 25 episodes, but we're finally now getting to understand why the shadows are. We don't fully understand why they're at the island, but we understand the backstory of one of the main characters, and I think that was highly important. I'm assuming eventually we're going to get the backstory of the old man and talk about when he killed his shadow and why he can't be copied again, which is also something, again, great piece of information to know, that if you kill your shadow, you can't be copied again.
Right. Which is great information. But it's kind of like there's no telling how many copies they can make. And they can make their lives miserable, irregardless of them copying them.
No, I think the shadows can only make one copy of you.
Oh, so it's only got it. So
the shadows can only make one copy. if you kill that shadow, they can't recopy you. So that means, in all honesty, they can only make one copy of you.
So I'm gonna ask a weird question then, because Ushio, we understand that in this episode, she is the same Ushio from the time period that he left from. So he left from the 23rd on the day of the festival.
Mm-hmm.
She, some kind of a way, when he came back, got transported with him,
mm-hmm.
which is scary, because if that's the case, like, what's to say another shadow can't do the same exact thing like she can? And why is it that she can do that?
I think the attachment is, though, I don't think she just latched onto him. I think the attachment is whatever they have going on. Remember, she's been talking to him this entire time before he understood he had a power.
Right. But I always thought that was the actual Ushio. I don't know. I really don't know.
So Ushio has always been attached to him. And it's possibly part of the reason why this shadow acts differently than the rest of them.
True. Ooh, matter of fact, they dropped another bomb at the end of this episode, that the only reason why Huzuru didn't kill Ushio at the end of this episode is she recognized her voice. And she realized that Ushio was the one that sent her to the island, which is insane. I don't know what that means.
So it could lead to Ushio being a shadow who's communicating to save people and her not knowing that's what she's doing.
Dude, I still don't even know. At this point, we know that the real Ushio was slaughtered by the little girl. Because that's what she flaunted that in front of Shin. That's what set Shin off. But in this episode,
could it have something to do with the way Ushio died and the way she was copied? Because have we ever seen any of the other shadows being copied as they were dying? Because remember, she copied Ushio when she jumped in the water with her. I think they said in like episode 3 or 4 that she got copied when she was in the water. I mean, she got copied while she was being choked to death and dying.
Yeah,
we've never seen anyone else copied while they were dying, I don't think.
No, we haven't. And the weirder thing, that makes perfect sense why Ushio was on the beach. She was coming out of the water where she was copied at initially.
So maybe that affects her being a normal shadow is because of that experience.
That makes sense. That makes complete sense. But it still doesn't explain how she's been how she got Mother's Eye, how she's communicating with Shin, how she communicated with Hizuru, and what she's trying to do. Because
maybe she's time traveling at the same time that he is. And what happens is her time is speeding up like his is, and that's the reason why this time she came back with him, because they went too far back for her to go back to the beginning.
Now that
because if she told all of them, she would have told them this in the past. She would have led her to the island. So then that means, if that's the case, that she's time traveling also. And maybe this is the time travel before she passes on the Mother's Eye. And that's why that's why it's finally sped up to her being at this place instead.
It's catching up to where she was at, or
it's catching up to current time.
Right. That adds up. That definitely checks out. That makes a lot more sense. In this episode also, the real Mio kind of was left in the dark. She didn't know what was going on. But the shadow Mio definitely did creep up on them. And and she was about to take them out. And we're talking
about episode 8.
Yeah, we're talking about episode 8 now.
Episode 8.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically,
skipped a lot about him making that curry, which is the most important thing in the episode.
We can talk about the curry.
No. Only reason I'm saying it is because is it the first time we've seen a shadow actually be hungry? I think that's something to pay attention to. She's extremely hungry. Like, you would think, being a duplicate of that nature, why would they need to also eat?
It doesn't add up because even her clothes disintegrated. I don't know.
You see what I mean? Again, I think these are little hints that they're throwing our way to let us know, like, maybe there's something completely different here. One, her stomach was growling because she was hungry.
It was.
But technically, if she was just copied, as she's supposed to have been just copied, technically, where would the hunger come from? We ain't saying little Miho eat this entire time.
No, she hasn't needed to at all.
But do you think it's an importance that they actually showed her extremely hungry?
Yeah, they're trying to make us almost convinced that some way, shape, or form she has a soul. She's got humanity. In some way, shape, or form, she is legit a living being. Maybe she is the perfect duplicate, so to speak.
Either that or the shadows feed off of something that this shadow doesn't.
Right.
Because this shadow, unlike the other shadows, doesn't know it is a shadow.
Yeah.
And it could have to do something with the way it was copied.
Yeah, she didn't know. She accepts it now. But even him, like even this statement, he was like, this is Ushio. This is the real Ushio. In every way, shape, or form. Like it's not a copy. But to Hizaru's point, what if one day, she just flips the switch? Like it's still that possibility.
And she realizes who she actually is.
Right.
And not who, but what she actually is.
What she's supposed to be, what she's supposed to do. So yeah. But no, that was dope. But again, in this episode, they kind of like play everything out as normal. And the Shadow Mio catches up with them, and she corners Shin. Shin, he was weird because he had like he had a brain fart moment. He was looking, he's like, wait, crap. She's got different clothes on. These aren't the same exact clothes she was just in.
Yeah. These were the clothes. But then again, that was done for a reason. Why is it that Miho's shadow wears the same clothes every day, and we clearly see Yushiro's shadow change clothes a couple of times?
Right. Like, how could she be able to actually do that physically? That's a good question, man. That's a really good question. But some kind of a way they I think they were looking from the outside trying to help him out. Because he had the bright idea of getting close to the window, and as soon as it lunged, he shot her. And they were able to thankfully save his life because he would have been done. He would have been a goner. But Ushio did put her life on the line for him.
Yes.
So that he didn't get killed. And that was his cause for concern from Hizaru from killing her. Because Hizaru was about to legit like bash his head in. He moved his head in the way. He was like, look, bro, like, what are you doing? He's like, look, I've never seen a shadow save my life. Why is it trying to save my life? That doesn't add up.
Exactly.
There's no point to it saving my life. Like, if any other time, from an end game standpoint, this is the moment that could have been perfect. But instead, it put its own life on the line for me. And Hizaru kind of like backed down, but to her point, she was like, look, man, I got your back, but I can't be around you. I can't be affiliated with that kind. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
So
like it just leaves so many questions about how this is going to work, because we clearly see that Shinpei is, I want to say he's clearly accepted the shadow as a clear replacement for Yushiro, and that's going to cause a problem.
Yeah.
And here it didn't make it better that she risked her life to save him. Well, not even risk her life, because technically that wouldn't have killed her.
Yeah, it would have. So remember, the hammer, where she was trying to point the hammer at was on where her shadow was. Like her shadow.
No, not when Hizaru tried to, but I'm talking about with her and Miho.
Oh, when Mio kind of got in the way, like she put her
when
body
she got in the way of
way.
Miho, that wouldn't have killed her at all.
No, it wouldn't have killed her. It wouldn't have killed her. It just wounded her, but it wouldn't have killed her. So, do you think that this is all a play?
I don't know. It raises certain questions, especially by the end of this episode. It raises a huge question.
Right. Even the weirder thing is when the Mio was getting killed, it almost looked like it was upset that Shin was killing it. Yeah. Did you notice that? Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, why are you getting emotional right now? You almost killed this man. But she was upset that, like, how dare, like, the person I love do this to me, kind of thing. It didn't add up. It didn't add up at all. But yeah, what was it? What was the backdrop of the end of the episode?
Them going to the beach and them talking to the other young, I can't remember his name.
Oh, I know. Like,
yeah. Simple friend is what I called him. Simple friend.
The one that got axed in the forehead or in the back of the head.
And him discovering Ushio, which was hilarious. And her kicking him and saying, "Why are you always crying? Like, when are you going to stop crying about this?" Basically, like, because again, she believes she's the real Ushio. So she's like, "Why are you crying over me being dead? I'm right here in front of you."
Right. That's right. The phone. I forgot.
And it becomes the phone that he passes over to her. And she says, which is weird. She said, the password has been changed. I found that weird because who the hell been able to have access to change a password? And then when she said, I used my fingerprint, which you kind of assume that because the shadows copy you completely.
Right.
But then she has a video of her being on the beach on the day that she died. Which also brings up another question that I just thought about. They constantly tell us that Ushio is copied as the other shadow was killing her in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Then who the heck was on top of the rock in episode 2?
Right. So
and we saw the glitches telling us that was a shadow.
Yeah, because I always assumed that was the Ushio that we're seeing here. But that Ushio, if I remember correctly, it had on different clothes. It didn't have on clothes.
Yeah, it did not. It didn't have on the swimsuit.
Yep. It wasn't a swimsuit. It was like a hat and like a jacket and whatever she was cleaning with. That's what it had on. So I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. Which it does lead me to believe that there's maybe possibly 2 different copies of this girl. Can you have 2 different copies? Can somebody can you be copied twice?
No, remember we said that. They literally said, how would you be copied twice? What sense would that make to copy you twice?
Because so all right, let's put it back. So I thought that the rule was once you kill somebody's copy, that
once
you can't be copied again.
You can't be copied again. But the question would be, why would they copy you twice? That's the key part. Why would they copy you twice?
I don't know, but
because you would assume as a family, once you're copied once, that's it.
Right. But that's the only thing that makes sense is that she was initially copied the first time, and then
look, none of this makes sense right here. I think that's what it needs to lead you to, is wondering, like, were those 2 different Ushios being copied? Was that something else we were seeing when she was at the top of the thing, and then maybe that was not a copy? Maybe that was the original Ushio before she died? I think a lot will be revealed in episode 9 just because we get the tape.
Yeah, I'm really curious. But again, like you said, the only person that would have changed the code would be in the original Ushio.
That's the only one.
Because the shadow
unless they are multiple copies of Ushio.
Yeah,
which would be nuts because besides that one scene, we've not seen a secondary copy of Ushio.
Right. So this is the weird thing. If the original Ushio died with one, this is code 1, right? This is the original code. And she died with that one. How would the copy know? Like the only thing that makes any sense is that the original Ushio created a second one
How was she
before it got copied, or before the memories and stuff got copied over? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because you would have to have made a brand new code, but
or it
the
could
shadow
be that because
copied
of the
before
way,
that.
or it could be because of the way Ushio died. The shadow didn't have time to get all the memories. Because again, she technically she was copied while drowning.
Mm-hmm.
But if she's dead, you're not copying any part of her because I'm assuming you have to be living to copy them.
Yeah, that raises a really good point. It is, can they copy people that are already dead?
Yeah. Because they need your function. There's nothing in your body once you die.
Right.
What is there the imprint on to copy?
True.
So if you're trying to imprint and copy her as she's drowning, you're not going to get everything.
It's true. It's just so weird. I'm trying to figure out, because Shin had the phone with him the whole entire time, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because he tried to get in it, he didn't know the code.
Yeah.
Nobody else had the phone. Nobody else had access to it.
Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just something again as simple as just saying that the shadow that took over for Ushio didn't copy her enough to get all that information. That could be a very simple answer there. I mean, the bigger point was the killing of Miho's shadow here, which kind of means Miho is now safe.
Right.
Because with her shadow gone, there's no longer a threat to her.
Yeah.
So now with him removing the threat of that, he can solely focus on the summer festival and solving all those problems there.
Yeah, because he has a number count on how many shadows it was.
Yes.
So that'll work in his favor. It's just more so he got to be careful who he trusts, because he doesn't even really know if that is a shadow version of his friend.
Well, the key part I would think at this point, because he learned it in episode 6. You step in a certain place and you can tell if it's a shadow or not.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're right.
So he's learned how to dictate who's a shadow just by understanding. Step on the shadow. If the shadow moves, that person is someone you can't trust. If it stays put, you're fine. Right now, it's just, again, based off of episode 7, is that them understanding different shadows have different power levels.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to watch out for that. Now, with the beach footage, when they watch it, what is it going to tell them about Ushio? Because I want to say somebody was filming something, and when they panned up, and it may have been on Ushio's phone, that's when they show the shadow at the top with it blinking or something. Because somebody was filming that. That's why we saw that.
Right. That was from Mio's phone, right? Mio had the footage, and she showed it to Shin like episode 2.
So if she had the footage, would it be a chance that Ushio actually recorded something of that nature also?
It makes sense.
And was that a shadow or Ushio coming back
originally
and time traveling when she got Mother's Eye and her being on top of there?
Yeah, because that was what we were talking about. And in this episode, I swear I saw a red dot like flying over the sky. And I was like, what is the mother randomly doing in the sky right now? And it just came out of left field, but I think you're right. That makes sense, that if Ushio, or possibly even the original Ushio, had that, and she laid these foundations to where we are now, so that it could be taken care of, even down to probably knowing how she had to die. That'd be fascinating. That'd be really interesting if Ushio was originally the person that was time traveling, because the shadows did insinuate that there have been other people that have done this, that have been time travelers. Not sure why they wouldn't pick up on her, but then to be fair, at this point, every time he goes back, they might not know that he can do it. So that's interesting.
Because the shadows don't transport back with him, so how would they know?
Right. The only person that's done that has been the Ushio. And maybe it's tethered to the eye. Maybe because he has the eye and she had the eye, because to me, honestly, that eye looks like Ushiro's eye, bro. I know they keep saying it's mother's, but it looks.
But I bet to say I don't think you can change that part, because mother's eye is supposed to help her time travel. Why would Ushio be able to time travel?
I don't know. I just know that the eye that is in his eye looks like Ushiro's eye. So weird to say, but it looks just like hers. It looks literally just like her eye. But we'll see. I guess we're gonna have to kind of wait it out till episode 9.
I'm about to say we don't have to wait it out. Episode 9 is out now.
Oh yeah. When you guys seeing this, episode 9 will be available, and we'll probably watch it and talk about it a little bit later on. We got a lot of other things we're going to be reviewing. We will be reviewing Spy Family, The Man That Fell to Earth, and a lot of other things coming very soon. I think The Old Man is maybe one of them, but we'll get there. That's
the soonest one.
Yeah. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button, and we will be back a little bit later on. And any other closing thoughts, Lucas?
There's still absolutely, positively no reason for this to be 25 episodes. We are at episode 9. That means there are 16 more of these. You better do something that's going to hold my interest for 16 more episodes.
I think we're about to get off this gosh darn island for real.
They better. I need it to happen. I need the Summerfest to be stopped, and then they come up with a different plan or something. Because again, 16 episodes left. This is coming a CW show.
We'll see. All right, guys. Peace. Filing out the top of I can see skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline.